everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're going to be working on the tailgate from our dually. Now we got the tailgate back on. We need a new pair of straps. You see these cables are getting pretty messed up. Thanks to my pal Jamie, he had a pair, he gave them to me, so it looks like they're the right ones. So we'll put them on and see how it goes. Yep, I'd say they're the same. We went ahead and put our tailgate assist little thing on there, so you can see how that works. And it just lets the gate drop easy. Now what we've got to do is we have to adjust the striker pins for the tailgate because you can see it, and that'll rattle, man, when you're going down the road. So we want to fix that. So all we're going to do is loosen this striker pin and jiggle it back just a hair. You can see the witness mark where it left where it originally was. There. And we'll tighten it up, and we'll do the same on the other side. So I moved both striker pins in just a smidge, so we'll see how it works. Looks like they need a smidge more. So now this end's pretty good. You can see it's kind of held against the rubber there. This end still not so good. Let's try her now, eh? Yeah, that's good. No more rattly tailgate. Now we just got to go underneath and hook up our, this is the plug for these lights on the tailgate. And we'll make sure it works. Deb says it works. First thing we're going to try to deal with is this nasty wump on the top of the tailgate. You can see here they've probably had the tailgate down and backed into the pin on their fifth wheel trailer or something. I'm not sure, but what we're going to do first is get this access cover off so we can get at the inside of it, and we'll see if we could start pushing it up and then work this. Man, I bet he was pissed when he did that. I know I would have been. First thing we're going to do is get the latch out of the way so we've got somewhere to work, and then all we can do is see if we can do something with it. Problem now is that this here bracket, which is for the tailgate latch, it's in the way of me being able to get at this from the inside. So I'm going to have to very carefully lay out. There's 4 spot welds holding this in, and I'm going to have to drill through it and break those 4 spot welds, and we'll rivet the thing back in when we're done. My first 2 holes I missed, these ones, but the second ones I got them. So now we have to do the same thing up here, and I drill the center hole. That's an index hole for when we put it together. That'll line it up perfectly because these holes might get a little larger as we work the drill bit size up to get the spot welds busted. We're gaining on this thing. It's still hanging up a little bit in the top here, but we've got the bottom busted loose, and there were 2 spot welds in the middle of it here too. We've got them busted loose. It's just a matter of jiggling it back and forth until we fatigue whatever is still holding it and convince it to break. What a job that was. But I got it out. So now we can figure out what we got to do to get this thing pushed back up. There's a big beam down there. I may be able to get in here with a scissors jack and just slowly push the thing back up. I've done that before on different things. We'll figure it out. So here I've got this all set up. I've got a hunk of 2x4 across the top of the gate to protect it. And we're just going to put various objects inside and pull it with the clamp and see if we can get this thing pulled out. And I'm probably going to get an air hammer with, I've got a big broad hammer tip that goes in it, and start working this. And that should, with stress on here, and start pushing down on that, it should get it, you know, mostly out. All we could do is try. I'm not going to do it on camera because it's probably going to be really embarrassing because I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But anyway, I'm going to try. Well, that looks a ton better. We're getting there. Now I have to just use a few different objects and get inside. There's a few little lumps and bumps in it still. We'll slowly get them worked out. This here, there's like a big bubble in the... There's a big bubble in the Line-X. We'll see what we got to do about that, but one step at a time. I've got it as good as I'm going to be able to get it. We're going to, I think what we're going to do is put a later style, like 06 to 08, little top spoiler on this thing, and that'll hide the rest of this crap. But for now, that's pretty darn close. It's maybe still a little puffy here. I might just get a big mallet and see if I can bash that down some. Okay. Now we can get our bracket back in. It says here we can anyway. We're going to rivet the bugger back in. We just got to get the holes lined up here. Whoop. Okay, there's the first one. Here we go. Now we've got to get, there's another rivet hole here. We have to get this lined up. Let me get a little punch. There we go. Doesn't want to go in. Oh, I know what happened. Hang on. Just gotta, I think there's a burr in the hole. I just gotta push a drill through it. There we go. Let's see. Okay, that's better. Okay. Now these ones, because the holes ended up larger, right? We're going to put a backup washer. We're going to put a backup washer on the other side of them. Like so. And when I say backup washer, what I mean is the heads of old rivets from leftover from race car business. I'm gonna have to get a dolly and flatten these down a little bit. The rivets aren't gonna sit flat, and that's no good. Let's see. That's better. Okay. So now we get our backup washer in there. Same thing on the other side. That really pulls it in tight, I'll tell you. And we'll do the same thing over here. There we go. The last thing we do, there's two more that go through here. I just want to test fit my latches and stuff. I think it's best for the rivets to come through from that side. Yeah, so you can see here, there's this part of the latch, that's where or on the latch, that's where the rivets are going to go. So we've got no worries at all. We'll put the rivets from the outside in with a backup washer, and we will be all set. There we go. Now we're going to fish the latch back in just through this end here. It all goes in and get it hooked back up. Then we can put the handle on and we'll be ready to try it. That's all good now. She latches, the handle's on, and she opens nice. Now we can put our access cover back on. This little rib here I think is up a little proud. I'm just going to give it a little smack with the dead blow hammer to get it pushed back down. And then we can put the cover back. I soaked the handle and the latches all down with some lithium. Now we'll close it up. I gave the tailgate spoiler a coat of trim black, and it's ready now. We can start putting it on. In the original configuration, it has a row of square holes punched in the tailgate and these little clips installed. Unfortunately, when I took them out, I didn't realize you could take the cover off the inside of the tailgate and get these things out without wrecking them. And well, I wrecked them all. And on top of that, they're pretty expensive to buy at the dealer. So what we're going to do, because we can get at the inside of it, we're just going to put it on. Instead of having these captive nuts in the skin of the tailgate, we're just going to drill a normal hole and put a nut on the inside. That's easily enough done. The backside attaches with some double-sided trim tape. I've scraped all the old stuff off. We'll put a new strip of it on. And you can see here, there's our 4 screw holes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a piece of tape across here so that we can lay out the screw holes. Now we've got it centered up, and you'll see that at least on this tailgate, we've got exactly a ½ an inch at either end. It's perfectly centered. So now what we're going to do is get a Sharpie and just work our way across it, push down on it, and mark where our holes need to be. Now we'll use our automatic center punch and center punch all these spots. First step will be a 1/8 pilot hole at all 4 spots. Now I'll use a step drill to open up the holes to the right size, rather than using a drill bit, which on sheet metal, when it goes through, it tends to pull it as it goes through, and then you end up with a big lump, whereas step drill just leaves a nice smooth hole. Oh, there we go. Once you've drilled 4 holes in your tailgate, well, you've drilled 4 holes in your tailgate. What we're going to do now, I've got some a little bit of touch-up paint. We're just going to touch up this hole, and then when we put the bolts together, we'll put lots of goop in it that will keep those from rusting. As tempting as it is to grab one of these things from the boneyard and just zing it on with some self-drilling screws, that you cannot do that with these things, because once that tailgate spoiler is on, it becomes the de facto tailgate handle for lifting the tailgate up, and you'll just rip it right off. It has to be bolted on. That's why they come from the factory bolted on. I've stuck a length of trim trim tape on here. So all we're going to do now is just get one end of it started, but leave it on for the whole length. We'll pull it out once the thing is on there, but we need just a little tab to get started, just like that. These are the mounting bolts for this. They're actually the same ones that hold this access plate on. So I went ahead, I cleaned them up and gave them a coat of black trim paint. Now we're going to get this baby on here, and we can see here our bolt hole. And there it is right there, our first bolt hole. So now that we know that hole's lined up, we know this thing is set this way and that way. Whoops. And I got to get this out. There we go. So let me try that again. Okay, yeah, the hole's still lined up. So we can go ahead and get this buttered up with some happy glue and get it through there. There. And get a nut on it. These are M6 nuts. Nutty nuts. So once I get these all started in from the other side, I'll be back. So we've got all our nuts and bolts started. Now we'll just go across and, well, that didn't work out how it was supposed to, did it? So the problem we found, because this Line-X is so thick, it's really putting a lot of pressure on the back side of this. So what I did, I took all the screws back out, and we're going to have to just kind of work our way across it gently, and then put the screws in. There we go. Kind of help it a bit. Where there's a will, there's a way. Okay, so now we got to make sure this is down. And it is. So now we can go ahead and put our screws back in, and we'll be all set. Now I can tighten up the bolts, and we're all set. Now I unhooked the latch rods while I was doing this so I could get my fingers in there. So I have to hook them back up. Now we can put our access cover back on, and we're all done. Okay, so now you can see, like I said before, this now, it actually is really handy. It becomes a good handle for lifting the tailgate up and down. And there you go. Perfect. I'm going to keep my eyes out for one of these that's in better condition. This one's got a lot of chunks and stuff out of it, but at the time, it was the only one around, and I got it almost for free. So it'll do till we find something better. Now what I have to do is pull this light off and figure out why a hunk of gasket is sticking out the end of it. This light has already had one repair. You can see here because they tightened it too much and pulled the screw right through. So we've got a little washer there. So what I'll do while it's out, these two screws, I'll paint them black and put them back in. See, that one is rounded out. That's not good. Let me try this screwdriver. It's a little newer. Yeah, there we go. That's good. So let's see what's going on with this. And probably while I got the light off, I'll wax the white paint in behind it. This poor truck, she's pretty banged up on the back here. She's been working her whole life, you know, so she don't owe anybody nothing. Oh yeah, look at that. Beautiful, eh? So we'll get that fixed up. There's the hunk of light that broke off. We'll go ahead and get this and all this all cleaned up and fixed up. I'll see you in a minute. I got this thing cleaned up and it's dry. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some super glue here. We're going to glue this thing back in. and maybe build up a little super glue around it. And once that's all set, I'm going to fill this whole end of the light with epoxy, and it should be fixed up just as good as new. So I hope this stuff works. I don't usually have too much luck at reopening super glue after I've had it on the go, but oh, look at that, it works. Okay, so this hole is a little bit slotted, so that has to be oriented this way, right? So let's get some super glue on this baby. And we'll get it stuck in there. There. There, we'll let that set up, and then I'll come back and I'll go around it a couple of times to make sure it's really in there good. And then we'll get the epoxy kit out. Well, I've mixed up some epoxy here, and we're going to go ahead and pack it all in this end of this light, and that should do it. That went pretty well. We'll just let that set up. Then we can cut a new gasket for it and we can put it back on. Our epoxy has set up nicely. That thing's solid as a rock now. So now I've got some closed cell foam, and we're going to make a new gasket to go around the perimeter of this thing. That went pretty well. Now we can get over there, plug our lights in. I'll screw it back on. The wiring harness should be attached to this, but it wasn't, so I don't know. I'll have a look at it. I maybe get it on there and put a tie wrap around it or something. We'll see. All right, there we go. That looks a lot better than it did before. Fantastic. That went pretty well, I'd have to say. Tailgate's all done. The last stuff I have to do is remove these decals, and this chrome cap, but we'll do that on there's some touch-ups and stuff. I'm going to do a whole video or a couple of videos about the exterior of the thing, fixing up paint and stuff like that. So that'll encompass that. Hard to believe we were able to make a whole video just about a tailgate, but hey, the tailgate needed a lot of work. It's still not perfect. I'm glad I came across this cap because that hides a lot of gobbledygook on the top of it. Hey, at the end of the day, she's a work truck. She's worked hard all her life, and she shows the scars of it. They just add character, nothing else. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that. Hope you enjoyed this video, and that you'll come back and see us again to see what we're up to next time. And until then, this is Kevin saying so long from the Claremont Classic Garage.